Yeah, we hardly see anyone. So yeah, we're at home. We're going out for a walk every afternoon between 12 and 1 just to be outside for a little while. So that's it.
Yeah, that's about all we can do right now, hey?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
mate, why don't I start drilling you with a few questions as a return guest who's also had to suffer through 2020 in interesting ways.
Yes. Yeah, it was suffering somehow.
It was
But
an
I but on the other hand, it had its good sides as well for me. Like life was a lot more quiet than it used to be.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that, but here let me start at the top, if I may. When did you notice the pandemic first sort of hitting you, whether it was the photography or life in general?
Life in general.
Yeah, around when? What made you notice?
Like beginning of March, yeah, when we basically when the decision was well when it was announced that the pandemic was happening, was real, and that work like my official job where they decided okay as of now that was on a Friday if I remember well it's like as of Monday we're all working from home, period, full time. That's it. Yeah, that's when you kind of realize okay this is serious.
I see. So it was pretty smooth sailing before that. Nothing from
Yeah,
work. And what
I
about the photography work with your portraiture and such?
Well, at that point, yeah, all the communions still had to happen. So that was, yeah, at the beginning of March, we didn't know what was coming. So initially we thought, okay, let's give it a few weeks and it's going to be all over and everything is done. But that wasn't the case. So yeah, we kind of realized that the normal planning for communions wasn't going to happen like it normally does.
Hmm.
So yeah, the what we normally have in, let's say, March, April, May, none of that happens, right?
So you had 100% loss because it was full lockdown over here in Belgium.
At that point, yes, but I kind of felt like this isn't totally lost because yeah, we were kind of lucky in a sense that well, most of the communions were were moved to later in the year, like September, October.
Uh huh.
And we had everything planned, so we were flexible for our customers. They were flexible for us. So the good thing at that point was that in September, October, we did a catch up of everything that we originally planned beginning of the year. So we did the same amount of work, we had the same amount of jobs, but in a different period of the year. So instead of the beginning of the year, got it later in the year.
Oh, that's great for everyone all around. You don't lose any work, and they still get their photos for the communion.
Yeah, and because we're also doing other stuff than photography, like the whole the layouts and the printing stuff
Of course.
and the websites, we got actually more work than before.
Huh? How did that work out?
Well, we one of our well our very first customer, and they're still a customer, is a restaurant in Bruges,
Uh huh.
and yeah, they were faced with the exact same problem. Like, okay, we have to close down the restaurant. What do we do? And they basically reinvented themselves. So they changed the restaurant to a combination of takeaway, bakery, shop, the whole thing. But that also meant that the like all of a sudden it's like, okay, we have to split the website in two because we have one side which is the restaurant. We're gonna keep that just in case, and then on the other hand, we now have a shop. Okay, let's make a website for that, and then starting with okay, we need the new menus for the takeaway. Okay, hubs, there we make menus for the takeaway, and so forth and so forth. So that actually generated a lot more work.
Interesting. My sister back in Canada is a web designer, and she said similar things, mostly just around having to change the website for like COVID updates or
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. But I guess you'd have full on redesigns, reboots, relaunches going on, wouldn't you?
Well, it wasn't really redesigned, but it's just creating in the same style as what they have, a different website because they are now a different kind of business.
Hmm. So fundamentally, just like a new homepage and then a new section for their new services.
Yep, yep,
Ah,
yep.
okay.
And what we see as well is that they really picked up on the social media stuff.
Yeah.
For example, I had a chat with them last week, and they really said like our main um, our main channel to communicate is Facebook. So that also means that because I'm also doing all their I'm creating the special versions of their menu in a format more suitable for Facebook, for example,
Uh-huh.
and that happens quite regularly. So now with Valentine coming along, we had to do that. With Christmas, we had to do that. With Santa Claus, the whole thing. So that's just a lot of extra work.
Huh. Well, it's a horrible situation to say it, but good on you for getting some extra work out of this. That's good.
Well, not only that, I'm also happy that they, as a customer, are able to let me do this.
In what way, please?
That they're still there as an entity, no longer as a restaurant, but as something else. But they're still doing business. They're still in business.
That's a point not to ignore. Yeah, they're still staying alive.
And we're kind of helping each other, right? I mean, if they have work for me, that means they have work as well. Because that's the way that's the interaction between us, right? If they don't have any work, I won't have any work from them either.
That must be reassuring, just in the general way, to know that some people are thriving out of this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's what they say as well when you chat to them. Is like, okay, it was reinventing ourselves or just going down, and that's it. But it's man and wife doing the restaurant. She's the serving and the whole thing. He's the cook. Yeah, you have a mortgage. You have children. You have to maintain. Yeah, you don't have much choice, huh?
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. And what do you miss most, Peter, over the last year?
Just the interaction with people, the social stuff.
The real world thing instead of just staring at a screen.
Real. Yeah, but also just the like with the communions. Okay, it was kind of okay because but you it's not the same type of interaction. Like if I'm doing a photography session with the
Mhm.
kids in the past, you can. It sounds silly to say, but you can touch them. You can talk to each other. You can get close. You can let them do all the stuff you want them to. But now it's not so obvious anymore.
And that's a pretty critical part of the job in portrait photography in many cases, especially kids, I imagine.
It makes getting that connection harder.
Hmm. And that was in September when we all sort of knew a little more about the virus and everything. So,
Why? But spirit. Well, some stuff was in August. Some stuff was in September.
so everybody masks until the photo moment, sort of thing.
Yeah.
That must have been tough, man. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully that's going to improve in the next year. Certainly, I think that's the biggest hit everybody all around, photography or otherwise, is feeling, is just that interaction and touch.
Yeah.
It's amazing seeing everyone do the chicken dance just so we can do some sort of version of a handshake right now.
Yeah. But it also, it's all it's also the small things like having it after the photo shoot, staying there and having a chat with the people and maybe going on a terrace and having a drink together. That's the stuff that is gone, huh?
What about at the end with presentation? Were you before all this sending files remotely, or did you sometimes meet up to do a presentation of the work?
Most of the time, we just sent them digitally.
Okay, so that hasn't changed too much, but the actual shoot is where you're
That has,
feeling this.
yeah.
That's brutal, man. That sucks.
Yeah, but yeah, but it's nice, of course, to have then other small things that really make that kind of up is like we got all the Christmas cards now because one of the things you always do with a communion shoot is if the family is there, okay, we try to make some family portraits as well. Or if they have more than one kid, well, we throw in some pictures of their kids. And then it's just nice to see that all of those pictures you took, they all reappear when you get the Christmas cards at the end of the year.
Of course, and that's smart business.
And that, yeah, but that gives me as a photographer a good feeling as well.
Yeah, as it should. As
You're doing that small extra stuff and people are happy with that. And you see that those pictures are also getting used. Yeah, it just puts a smile on my face.
hmm. What do you expect from this year, from 2021?
Well, it's probably going to be similar, I'm afraid, than last. Like I'm not expecting anything to be different in April or May. this year already.
Likewise, here in the tourism sector and also for the photo work, there's not much looking heavy on the horizon.
Yeah, yeah, we have a wedding that people a friend of ours that we have to photograph, and yeah, it's already postponed twice. It's probably gonna get postponed yet another time, I'm afraid. So now it's September, October this year, but yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah, I don't think it's. I'm not sure if at that point a big wedding party with like 100 people is going to be there. Possible. I don't know.
That's extremely optimistic, in my opinion,
Yeah.
for 2021. Yeah, yeah, that's going to be a tricky one. How are you handling it on the business end of things? Are you taking deposits with bookings?
No.
No, you just charge them once the thing actually happens.
We do all the work, we finish, we deliver, and then we send the invoice.
Okay. Is that the same as before? Just
Yeah.
to give the listeners context? Okay, it is the same thing.
So far, it always worked out. Let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah. Well, it's a smart way to do it. It's friendly business, isn't it? It's immediately putting trust into someone that everything's going to be fine and you will indeed get paid at the end of the job.
Yeah, but also and that's maybe a bit specific in my case. Then most of those people we do work for, we kind of know them. Either they're friends of friends or friends them from us directly or family from friends or whatever. So we always have some kind of connection with our customers.
Of course, we talked about that when you were on the show for the full chat. Absolutely. Yeah. That is a good benefit in normal times, but especially in these times.
And
I guess
as long as it works out that way, I'll keep on doing it that way. If I have negative experiences with that at a certain point, I might change my mind. But so far, I didn't have to change my mind yet.
good. That means you're doing something right, Nate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned it a little bit already, but how have you kept busy over the last year? You do have a full-time job and two beautiful daughters, so I'm guessing that's the bunch of it. But tell
Yeah.
me, please.
Well, full-time work or my main job is sometimes more than a full-time, so that's already exhausting. But I must say that I did enjoy during the pandemic when when the kids didn't or weren't allowed to do their hobbies and stuff like that. That made a massive difference, of course, in terms of time, because all of a sudden you don't have to drive around in the evening during the week. That and then add the fact that you don't have to drive to the office and back, which gives you an hour a day extra.
I guess so, yeah.
And it was during spring and summer, so days are pretty long, so you have a lot of time.
Yeah, and you live in a corner of things where you have nature pretty easily accessible, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't
Good.
have to walk very far to get into the nature here. So
Did you find you actually, in this situation, got ahead with work a little bit? With the main job? Not so much the photos, of course.
no, not really.
Oh, so they just kept piling it on as you cleared it out then.
Yeah, I mean, my full-time job, to be fairly honest, if I would have 24 hours a day, that's probably still not enough.
Uh,
So, but it did make me more conscious about, because that was in the beginning when working from home, we didn't have the office in the attic here yet, so we were sitting in the living room at the big table together,
mm,
and I found that very hard in terms of working from home because that's the environment you're spending like the majority of the day in. And you always pass by your office. If you go from the kitchen to the toilet, you go upstairs, you go back to the kitchen, you're always passing by your office. And you're like, let me just quickly finish this or that. And so
hmm
the working day never stopped. And then we moved first to the kids, their room, but then
Oh,
we had to get out again because they were getting teaching from home. And then we moved up in the attic. So that got there a little quicker than we anticipated, but now it's better because if the evening is there and the working day is over, I just go downstairs and I'm at home and I don't have to look at my office again.
which must be very nice. I had that situation before we were able to redo the roof, and I could move up here
Yeah,
myself. Yeah, it gets a little on top of things, and I don't think it's good for the brain, certainly.
No, you have to. You need some time to unwind, to just let it go.
Yeah. How long have you been in the office now? Or up in the attic office?
Couple of a month or three, I think.
Okay, so it's settling in.
Yeah,
You've got a good groove going up there. Does that
yeah.
help justify pushing that job of renovations and finishing it up the list a bit?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, we still have to finish off a lot of stuff, but that's normally going to happen next holiday here in the how do you say, krokusvakantie, the upcoming
Spring break?
spring break. So
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, I guess there's not much travels possible, so you might as well put it into the home, eh?
well, we're not going traveling anyway. I mean, last year Nora did her Holy Communion, and one of the things she asked was, "I want to do a city trip to Lisbon."
Nice.
That was last year in May. Guess what happened? We didn't
Not so
go.
nice. Yeah.
And then it got postponed. Yeah, my first idea was, okay, maybe let's go around Christmas, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, Noya wasn't so sure about it because she really wanted to go in the summer when the weather was nice. Yeah, but
That's what I thought.
summertime we didn't feel like traveling. And now I see
Mhm.
in Portugal that the numbers are going the wrong direction again, so it's not gonna happen.
Leave it for a little while would not be the worst way to go, definitely.
And even if we can go in May, I'm not sure if I'm willing to go.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Even if you get your
But
vaccinations and everything, there's so much chaos
yeah,
out there, and
but I'm in the part of the population that will, if we're lucky, I think we'll get a first vaccination somewhere in the summer.
sounds like it. Yeah.
But the vaccines are not going to solve all of this stuff, right?
No, of course. And even if you get a vaccine, expect to wear a mask. I'd say is going to be the common sense.
Yeah, and I'm also very afraid that as long as people keep on traveling, and I don't have anything against traveling, but as long as people keep on traveling, and not everybody in the whole world has a vaccine, it's going to be the same stuff all over again.
It's not great. You know, I'm very much for open borders and freedom of movement, but I find it ridiculous the Belgian government hasn't closed the borders until now. And even now they're not technically closed, but there should have been more restrictions over on the lines
Yeah, and
as far as I see it.
like this paper you have to fill in. How are they going to check that anyway? I mean, there's no way you can check that.
Yeah, yeah, that's the other thing. I know in Canada, if you're coming in from abroad, you have to go to a government quarantine hotel, and it's like $2,000, no options.
Yeah, but what if somebody, for example, because I remember from well, yeah, this is different. It's not really an open border. Like if you go from, let's say, Seattle to Vancouver,
Hmm.
you have to pass border control, right?
And Canada's keeping that border closed right now. It's still closed with the States.
Yeah, but that's
And
good. But if you go from France to Belgium or the other way around,
nothing.
nothing.
Yeah,
Okay, if you
that
take the highway, you might risk of being uh,
checked on.
checked on, but that's about it.
Yeah,
If I look at where my wife's parents are living in Veurne, I mean, there's zillions of small roads, and I can just go to France without anybody even knowing.
yeah, of course. And
So
there are ways to track that, but then you start destroying hard-fought privacy rights. The
yeah,
drones
but
didn't go
that's
down
that's
very well in Belgium.
yeah, but I'm all for privacy and stuff like that, as long as it doesn't put the public health in danger.
Yeah, no kidding. Likewise, that's how I feel about the borders. Keep them open, or keep those drones away from me until the numbers get really bad, and we prove that
Yeah.
maybe we do need a little bit of
Yeah, but
supervision.
we're always saying like, yeah, you can't do this, that, or that because of my privacy, and I'm like, yeah, but public health is suffering because of that attitude. So maybe
Yeah.
that's not the best attitude.
That's where people confuse their rights and responsibilities. They think they're exclusive instead of one leads to the other and vice versa.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a funny old time. Well, mate, what about the family time? Has that gotten some extra loving with this time on your hands?
Yeah, because you have more time, right?
Yeah, you're going to hang out with the girls and your main girl, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. That's a very happy story I've heard over 2020 is a lot of families finally reconnecting, especially in catering.
Yeah.
One guy told me like it's the first time in 5 years we all sat at the dinner table together.
We already had that, but yeah, we go out for walks. We go, yeah, also with friends. I mean, sometimes you just meet up with friends somewhere. We go for a walk for an hour or 2 hours, and then that's it. But at least it's outside. You're allowed to do it, and we can see each other. So we did
Yeah,
quite a bit of walking. We did yeah, lots of sports as well. Yeah,
good.
it's about the only thing you can do right now.
Have you been taking any photos outside of the communal sort of mindset?
Not much, to be honest.
Were you getting a lot in before the lockdown in these situations? Do you normally have a camera with you and go a little snappy snappy?
Well, most of the time with my phone, to be fairly honest, because it's just easier to take my phone with me. Like if I go biking quite often. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just easier to take my phone rather than a full-blown camera.
Okay, fair play. Fair play.
But I should spend more time on that. But yeah, after a while, if you go out for a walk here in the neighborhood, yeah, after a couple of times, you've pretty much seen everything, right? And
Yeah.
there's nothing really special going on here as well. We're a small village. Like, yeah, every day looks like the previous one.
True, but that's also part of the fun of photography. You take it out,
Yep,
look at it through the camera, and switch up the perspective, find
yep,
something new.
yep.
Yeah. Well, keep at it, mate. Here, I
Yeah,
just
yeah, I
have
should.
a. Sorry, go on.
No, I just should spend more time on that.
Yeah, yeah. It's a common problem for even full time professional photographers, so don't feel too bad if you're not getting your click time in. But do give it a go, man. It's
And
a good time to reprogram the brain, and getting new
yeah,
habits in is definitely part of that.
yeah, but I did discover for myself like we now have much more family time,
Hmm.
but somehow we don't make a lot of pictures about the family time. Maybe just
Yeah.
because in my mind it's now we finally have proper time to spend with each other, and I don't want to be the one just hiding himself behind the camera.
That's a very fair excuse. That's a very fair excuse. But don't give it up too much, man. You want those memories, eh?
No, I don't. I don't.
Well, it's an interesting time, I think, for us all with changes of habits and such. So that's certainly not out of the ordinary either.
Yeah.
Well, Pete, last question, if I may.
Yeah.
What made you smile most in 2020? Let's leave it on optimism.
Um, that's a good question. Yeah, just the fact that there's like seeing that my kids, even though it's quite hard for them, they're still trying to make the best out of it.
That is definitely that would something to make a
Yeah,
smile come up. Yeah. How old are the girls now, man?
13 and 9.
Okay, and they're doing okay with through all this.
Actually, they are. Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
like for the oldest one, yeah, she now goes to the big school, so that was already a big change.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, she's doing extremely well.
Good.
So yeah, I'm more than happy.
Good, man. Well, it's critical in these times we see the positive side, and it sounds like you've got a lot to refer to.
Yeah, I just enjoy the little things.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows, mate? Maybe we'll make lockdowns a yearly thing just so we can all start relaxing a bit and taking stock in a new way.
Yeah, and but it yeah, it does make me really think like, do we really want to go back to the old way of living?
Something's going to change after this. I mean, we're certainly straying far away from photography, which I think will start taking some of its normal patterns as
Yeah.
life resumes. But the other side of things is definitely going to start shifting around. And I think even within photography, we're going to start seeing some big shifts.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for that, Pete, man. It's good to get an update on you, and hopefully the listeners like this, and also check out the past episode that you dropped by, which qualified you to get an update episode
Yeah,
this time around.
I'll do that while I'm running in the evening. discovered that listening to podcasts is a good thing while running, better than music.
It's another thing that we're all finding time for this year is to listen to each other babble away.
Yeah,
Good man. Well, thanks for that. I appreciate it. Take it
no
easy.
problem.